into the zone if US didn't back up?
I have to tell you something, and I'll tell you something very bluntly and very briefly. This world order is, fortunately, met its end. And I'll tell you why. The people that you're fighting is Iran. Iran had a revolution. And its revolution was known as an Islamic revolution. There's a book I'm holding right here. It says The Roots of the Islamic Revolution. And you have Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. I need for everybody, whomever you can, go and study back on the man that created the doctrine, the man that created the genius in the Constitution. Because when we say warfare, we really are talking about what makes up a strong military. That's what we want to talk about. The people, number one, are extremely important. If you don't have people's backing, you're not going to get anywhere. But the one who has the best resilient people, they're going somewhere.
But we will at least step back at the conflict, the background of this conflict starting from 1979, but also the most real one that I heard of is the October 7 attack, whereby the Gazan attack, the Israelis, that is territorial attack, whereby they kill so many people and then kidnap so many people. But then, is that justified? Do they have the right to?
They definitely have the right to self-determination and self-resistance of an occupied force anytime, any day, anywhere. In the United States, we raised up and we resisted against the British when it was time, isn't it? So what I'm trying to make you understand and trying to make everybody realize is that what you do to a person, you stole their land, you killed the people, you're occupying it. And under the Charter of the United Nations, they have the right to self-determination and to resist. So why has not that been the norm? I'm glad we covered it earlier, because the United States has been aiding Israel.
So we see that Iran has carried what we call a very military strategy on Israel by overwhelming their Iron Dome, rendering it useless, but then overwhelming them with outdated missiles, just to overwhelm the system by not knowing which one to intercept.
Let me explain something to you. It was a long time coming. It's been planned for a very long time. Israel, imagine this, and let's just get to where we are right now. Israel is a country the size of the Gambia. Iran is the size of Nigeria, bigger than Senegal.
Like 80 million.
Listen, 90 million population. Israel is 9 million. Iran is 90 million. Does it make any sense? It's like Gambia attacking Senegal. It does not make any sense, but why? Because the United States and the Western allies. It's not anything beyond that. And you hear them say it. Our American friends are coming. But let me get you to the weaponry of the Iranian system. I go back to studying Iran 1980 at least, since I studied Iran-Iraq war. And I followed it all the way until the passing of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini in 1989. And he died a peaceful, well, he died a natural death, if you can say. Now, his doctrine was about doing for self. He's very similar to the likes, I would say, of Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, trying to teach the people to do for their own, but in an Islamic context, because Islam is not just going to masjid and fasting and doing nice things and just following, worldly things. So he brought in a doctrination that says you always have an enemy. And the greatest enemy to our nation, to the Islam, is America. So he built a system of economics, a system of politics, a system of social dynamics. And then let me explain something else between the two powers. Iran goes back over 200 years in civilizations, all different type of people coming to Iran, Armenians, Persian, different ethnic ethnicities. Israel, which is an illegal state, you will not find its legal document as a country at the United Nations. It does not even have 77-year-old history. So what is going on? So the missiles, the Fatah missile, the Karbala missile, the Shahid drones, all of the, and so many more. They don't even know how many.
But we see to see that how people were so surprised that how did Iran able to capable of building itself and enriching itself on uranium while the U.S. have sanctioned on them.
Okay, let's understand a few things together. The mind cannot be limited by the human being or by an external force. The mind will keep thinking. If you do something right to the mind, it's going to think right. If you do something wrong, the mind is a muscle. What he was teaching was about empowering your mind to go beyond the faith. So they believed, and I really want to emphasize, if you really want to know the real weapon, it is the faith. When the Iraqis were asked, after 8 years of war, you had support from everybody. You're as big as Iran. You are as big as Iran, yet you are not able to win a decisive blow with all of the weapons. What's going on? Iran did not have support from anyone other than the faith. So believe it or not, I mean, that's the response I got. That's what they told me.
Well, let's go to the military capabilities, Iran and Israel. We have on the defense budget, the other one is spending what we call 24 billion on military defense budget, and also it has active personnel of 170,000. That is on the Israel side. But if we went to the Iran side, we have
May I cut in for a minute, okay? Just give me 1 second.
Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the Guard cost, which is.
Let me explain something. Israel right now is in the worst predicament they could ever be in, and they're not getting any help, no matter what type of weapons they have. The people are in bunkers. They're being squashed in there like sardines because they're not used to war. If you see the footages, you see men, women, children, the elderly, they own pets, cat and dogs, just inside of a bunker. They cannot get out because they hear the sirens and they hear the bombs going up. Hypersonic ballistic missiles. They are called next generation. Why? Because of the brain. If you entrust the brain to its creator, he will always come back for you. And they've been preparing for 45 years minimum. They've been preparing for this. They know about all of your systems. They studied them. So they have different type of capacities to overwhelm you and to study you even better before they crush you. So Israel right now is having the problem with the bunkers because a lot of imagine, you are a soldier and it's time for you to now run inside of a bunker. You can't do anything but to wait until you're told to come out free. Many Israeli soldiers have dual nationalities and they're getting out of Israel to go back to their other country.
But is the world really definitely looking all this just to unfold? Because Israel in the last months we see that they capture what we call Greta Thunberg, a freedom activist of the freedom frontier, arresting him under international wars. Also, what we call violating what we call international law.
Israel did this? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just to get in the Gaza Strip to donate baby families.
All right, let's explain Israel in their criminal activities. Let's not be, Israel. And I have to tell you, there's an analogy. I have to explain it to you. It's bad when you get, when you get your tail whooped. Okay, when you're getting trashed, it's bad enough. That's really bad. But imagine you're getting trashed, and people that you should be receiving sympathy from are telling, good job, do it even better. America today, people in America, the American people do not want war. They're sick and tired of wars. American people have been paying for wars forever. They don't want to pay anymore. And it's their tax money that they've already taxed them too many times. And they know that Afghanistan, they have not forgotten. It's just 2021 when they had to run out of Afghanistan. They know about Vietnam. They know about Iraq, 1 and 2. They know about Vietnam. They know about Korea. America knows, the people of America know that it is unjust moral warfare that they've made a business. They have made this a business. Think about this analogy. You think America has the best capability in drones. Their drone is, like you said, very expensive. It goes up in the air, it goes all the way up. It's hard to detect and all that. And then it drops its payload where you tell them, maybe about 10, 15, who knows, who cares? It doesn't matter.
But there's a clear image that Iranian radar system has detected the Stealth 2 B-2 bomber.
We're comparing the difference of the bombers, or of the drones, of the weaponry. This is the ideology of the American society. They go up and they want to do their dirty work behind the scene and then come back safe. Understand that. That's a Western colonial imperialist psychology, excuse me. For the Iranian drones, they send the drone, they're known as a shahid, as a martyr. The drone is not coming back, just like the one who goes in the path of God, he doesn't want to come back. So there's a difference, the mindset.
But do you think if this Putin, that is Vladimir Putin, also threatens that it will step to the zone of this war if they didn't reach what we call a peace agreement? Do you think there will be a high possibility that there will be a global crisis when it comes to economy?
I wouldn't worry about Putin too much. He's busy in Ukraine. All right? As far as what is going forward, it's very predictable. If Israel does not stop sending its planes, and I'm going to have to say a couple of lies, and may God forgive me because I don't like repeating lies. Israel started this assault on June 13th, 2025, with 300 planes or projectiles, air. And they went to Iran and they claim air superiority. Until today, they claim air superiority and they're still sending their planes. But the last time they published the amount of planes and projectiles, it dropped from 300 to 60 or even 30 because they're terrible with numbers. Can you imagine? How is it that you control the skies when your own cities are being leveled? I want to say something else. You know what's the worst part about the Iranian drones? It is not the fact that they're ballistic or hypersonic or supersonic or next generation or faster than sound. It's not that. It is the names that they associate with the drones. The last one they launched, or within the last time, listen at a drone named Khaybar. Khaybar. This is a fortress that the Prophet ﷺ took, and that's where he was poisoned. This is what they are sending to the state of Israel, and there is no stopping it. The only way is that Israel realizes its mistake and it stops bombing other nations. In 77 years, Israel has bombed Iran. And this is the third time they bombed, and this is the reason why they're retaliating. Israel has bombed Lebanon. Israel has bombed Syria. Israel has bombed the Palestinians. Where does it stop? And I must be forgetting a few.
Can we call them the aggressor?
They're definitely the aggressor with the United States. Don't leave them out. With the United States administrations, those who are controlled by the Zionists, they are responsible because they start these wars so they can have money. They have to have money for their weaponry to keep the business going. But then,
if the war justified, like Iran, Israel, and Iran, is it justified?
Let me explain a few things about war. The art of war states that war should be the last result after everything else fails, because there are no winners in war. If you go into a place and you win over them, you still are responsible by international law to see that they are back on their feet, civilians. So let's think about it for a minute. It's justified because we have a rule in the States, and I'm going to close it out right now. The rule in the States is you never ever start a war. You never ever start a fight. But if you have to be drawn into a fight, if you are in a fight, after you did not start it, you better finish it. And that's what Iran is doing, and they have every right to do it. I'm sorry. The Islamic Republic of Iran is definitely in the right, and the aggressors are in the wrong.
So the war is just overwhelming the skies. It's just a bloom, flashy, just dropping.
No, but don't worry. Israel has the air superiority. Just go over there and stop them. I mean, correction. You have so many planes over there. Just bomb wherever you want to bomb to stop the missiles from coming. It should be simple, unless you don't have complete superiority.
But in 2 weeks back, visitor received that Iranian spies are using what we call Israeli spy to get what we call their military documents.
Let me cut you off right there. And I don't mean to do that, but I have to. Spying is probably one of the best tools of military or best tools of war conflict. That goes all the way. They all have spies. All right, Israel is not getting away with its Mossad or anybody else, it's Shin Bet or whoever. It does not matter. What I want to explain to you is this: the people have to support you. Do you see the Israelis in the bunkers? They're not supporting that. They're not able to take a shower. They're not able to go to the beach. They're not able to walk their pets. Not having that.
So, meaning there is no leisure also free. Do you think that the Israeli citizens are like what we call this war that is ranging on Iran?
Listen, if nothing else, I'm very sorry for those who were not asked or did not raise their voices or did not evacuate. But until they started, even until the last poll that was taken from the Israelis, they claim that they are still 83% in support, just like they were supporting Gaza. I don't know what you want me to do about that. The reflection of the leader is based on the people. He is a reflection of them, and they are a reflection of him, period. They were given plenty of warning. And I want to make this last point. Do you see all the destruction in Gaza? In Gaza.
We didn't hear anything about it.
You didn't hear anything about Gaza. Did you hear anything about Lebanon?
Not yet.
Anything about Yemen? Anything about Syria? These type of destructions, like you see in Israel today, where you see Tel Aviv and Haifa and all these places, in every of those countries that I mentioned, you know, they killed thousands and thousands upon thousands of civilians. They will tell them in Gaza, they will tell them, go there and get food, and then they bomb them there. They'll tell them over there it's safe. They go and gather, and they bomb the people there. They bomb hospitals. They bomb mosques. They bomb synagogues. They bomb churches. They bombed hospitals. They killed more journalists in Gaza than any other world conflict.
So we see to receive, we see to receive so many people being killed, but also they claim that we are targeting the enemy. The enemy is in the mix of that is Hamas being within them, threatening them. But you bringing a whole building down and also not having any enemy in it. So just killing civilians.
Let me explain. Israel, all these different institutions, Israel killed intentionally. In the destruction in Israel that you see, no more than 35 people by their own numbers are claimed dead from that. That is a most moral example of a military. Otherwise, I don't know what is. In the Israeli infrastructure, they have eliminated so many, in fact, their own stock market, they crashed it in Israel. Okay? Despite that, you have no more than 30 deaths. And the reason for those deaths, majority of them stayed in bunkers, thinking that they were safe. But the explosion was too loud, and so they cried themselves to death. Yeah. But imagine that. If you look into how Israel killed in Gaza, they killed over 50, 60,000 people. A lot of people are still not discovered. Women, children, elderly, sick. They killed everybody. Shin Bet, yeah.
All building
collapsed. Yes, the whole, well, they decimated it. An unlivable place. 55,000 is the number, but it's way more than that. And again, most women and children.
But then what is the international journalism also doing about, because
they're not allowed.
They are not allowed.
They're not allowed in Gaza, and they're being cut off now from Israel because Israel does not want them to see the destruction. But it's too late.
But so many of the international lawyers like Natasha was interviewed by Piers Morgan. He said that we are looking for their safety. We are looking for the safety of journalism. That's why we didn't want to allow journalists to be in the mix of reporting.
Listen, I don't want to quote liars, okay? I have my own motto. It's called Operation Stop Lying. And I don't want to mention any names. But if you look in the Quran and you understand, unfortunately, they do. The Quran does not lie. The Quran is telling the truth. The mentality of the Zionists, the white supremacists, is what the Quran says. They're very arrogant and they think they can get away with fabrication. It's not correct. So now the world is seeing, and we're thankful because I declared, along with the People's Republic of the Shahada in the United States in 2023, that we would stand for Operation Stop Lying. And we're glad that majority of Americans are up in arms. I mean, they hate the fact that the U.S. did that conduct yesterday, but there's a few secrets. If I'm allowed, I'll talk about it, but I think I've said enough. I appreciate, the time that you've given me, and I've exhausted it, but I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was a professor. And also, but before we end this program, why not we go into a global economic impact of the Iran-Israel and the U.S. war June 2025. Let's look on the oil price spike. That is Strait of Hormuz. Iran also threatened that it will block what we call the Strait of Hormuz. But then we see that the American warships are just within the coast of Hormuz.
Yes. So, and I have to get back to where I started. War is not just about going and killing. Like myself, yourself, a banker or a student, an engineer. We don't just send armies to go fight, right? Who does it? A president, a king. It's always political. There's always some kind of political motivation for consensus of some type of
interest.
Land. There's always land involved. I cannot believe the president of the United States, I'm not going to name it because I have a different name for him. He literally said out of his mouth, when they did Iraq, I told them they should have stayed there and took the oil. So imagine that. They have an agenda to drive prices. It's not unplanned. So you have to realize that when the prices go up, somebody still makes a lot of money.
Somebody makes a lot of money. Oil prices surged to $135 to $145 per barrel after U.S. bunker buster strike on Iran nuclear sites, which is the targeted 3 sites. That is the Fundal and the 3 sites whereby they use what we call uranium to produce. Also, we see that Iranians give a green light to the International Atomic. That is their general, but also Israel refused to give a green light to their nuclear sites.
Correction. Israel refuses to disclose or be part of the organization that monitors. Israel refuses. Nobody until today knows how much Israel has because the United States has been protecting Israel. Gambia couldn't do it. But why are you going after Iran? Iran is an Islamic legitimate republic. Period. Like it, hate it, love it, whatever you like. But they have every right to have whatever they want to have as a sovereign state. Now, they are part of the organization that should come and monitor, and they inform them. But listen, they were on the diplomatic track. Why did the United States have to have a scheduled meeting with them about the topic? And before that, they said to the Israelis, go ahead and bomb them. The United States has been complicit in the genocidal action of Israel for over 77 years. It's time for it to end.
How would you put it is a genocide? Would you call it a genocide?
Because all of humanitarian organizations that qualify a genocide find it to be a genocide. Go and look it up. They won't admit it. How do you intentionally say that you're going to deprive the people of a strip, which is probably the size less than food? You're going to deprive them of water. You're going to deprive them of shelter. You're going to deprive them of fuel. You intentionally say that. And your own soldiers are committing war crimes, actions of genocide, when you intentionally want to wipe out a population in part or half.
I think that's one of their slogans, Operation Just Clear Everything, just clean.
Very genocidal, very genocidal.
Can you tell us more about the 2005 when Israel promised that it withdraw from the Gaza Strip, but then they didn't.
Right. So the Israeli Prime Minister, and I don't want to say names particularly specific because I have different names for them, but the Israeli Prime Minister, Yahoo, I'll call him like a Yahoo. I'll just say his last part. it's been leaked that October 7th was really pioneered by him. Okay? This is something that people need to understand. Why and how? Because he is the one who deliberately funded Hamas because he knew that Hamas was an armed. They refused to negotiate until they were recognized as an armed resistance. And he said, since the PLO is completely opposite from that, we'll keep them separate. It's called divide and conquer. And since Hamas is in charge of Gaza, we can go in Gaza and fight them and just take it over. The plan failed because you are failing in Gaza. Hamas still exists. The hostages are still there. You haven't gotten anything anyway other than proving how genocidal you are.
But sir, if you call Israel attack on Gaza to be a genocide, why the October 7th would we call that also a genocide?
The October 7th would not be called a genocide. And as a matter of fact, because of what I just said, Netanyahu himself, okay, unless you want to call it a genocide on behalf of Netanyahu, yeah, sure, you can do that. The other thing is, a lot of people who died in the October 7th operation died at the bequest of the Israeli army. They have what is known as the Hannibal Doctrine or Directive. That means instead of allowing there to be any type of attempt to extract the hostage, to extract the people in which they are holding, we're just going to bomb everybody, right? So they bombed them with helicopters, and they bombed them with their own tanks. And IDF forces themselves, IDF soldiers themselves admit that the Hannibal Directive was given. So yeah, genocide on behalf of Netanyahu.
That's very correct. We also see so many videos of Israel military forces also taking live footages, also striking on key buildings in the Gaza Strip, but also still on the economic inflation. We will be focusing on global shipping, which insurance rate for shippings in the Gulf region are up to 400% since early June.
Well, let's cut it short for a minute here and understand something about where the naval turn took, or where naval became a thing in this conflict. It really would start with Iranian, or I would say part of the freedom fighting movement, the Houthis, under Abdul Malik al-Houthi in Yemen. And what they did was, just as the Iranian counterparts, in that sense, I say they're both of Shia doctrine, they're Muslims, Shia doctrine. They developed their own ballistic missiles. And they said, we are going to block the Arabian Sea. We're going to block the Red Sea to make sure that the global trade that gets back and forth to Israel, because Israel controls America. Israel controls the world economy. We're going to make sure we give them a tough one there. So, you know, in case no one realized what was happening, because bullies never realize what's happening until they get their own bloody nose. So that's where it's
you
at.
made mention of war is not about exchanging what we call military and also ballistic missile, but also in economic we can have war ties, also controlling what we call stocks and markets, also gaining what we call
My
interest.
friend, warfare involves all of that. I mentioned that before: economics, social, academia. It also has to do with force, intelligence. All these things are about warfare. But again, there are no winners in war, and the first victim of war is the truth. The first victim of war is the truth. Whenever there's conflict, somebody decided, the truth wasn't good enough, so, and it shows time and time again.
But we have allies from these different countries, but then are these allies ready for a peace agree or peace deal?
I'm sorry, allies of who? Who's allies?
Both countries, both nations have allies.
Obviously, but the aggressors' allies. I mean, we see how they did. We're gonna have a talk on Saturday, and you bomb them on Friday. We know how they do.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
No, it's too much. Operation Stop Lying goes hand in hand with Operation True Promise 3. Yes, Operation Stop Lying started in 2023. Operation True Promise just started this 13th.
But Israel call it Iran also moving with a military strategic by sponsoring Houthis, Hamas.
I'm sorry. Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah, these are organizations. Iran is an entire civilization dating back that far. They've been fighting. Do you know about the Sassanid Empire? The Sassanid Empire was the empire that was during the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Iranians, the Muslims defeated them, and that's how they became Muslims. Since then, they've still been fighting. They've been studying warfare. Warfare is an actual art. It's a science. Israel, this 77-year-old illegitimate state, does not have a chance. Was very sorry. If you take a look at what's going on, I feel bad for them. But they have to stop bombing people.
Atayola also made mention it will also target what we call key military facilities and infrastructure in America. But also Trump threatened that it will also cause what we call a deadly retaliation in return, as he warns Atayola.
Who did that?
American Trump won.
I'm sorry. Okay, all right. So I don't want to use names. All right, just say the American president. That's good enough. I really mean that. Give me 1 second. Let me explain something here.
Enter the war in Iran?
Nobody wants a liar. It doesn't matter how nice you look. None of that matters, how much you have. Nobody really likes a liar because they change too much. And once you're known as a liar, if you're really a Muslim, you would know that it's not going to ever do any good for you. But likewise, if you're a Muslim and you know somebody is lying, don't listen to them. Don't take what they're saying seriously, because if you do, you're only in the,
Yes, let's go back. The promises the president of America made mention to its citizens that it will stop the Russian and Ukraine war within 24 hours, which he quietly didn't did. There's no promise, the fulfillment of promise. And also he says that there will be peace between the Gaza Strip and also between Israel and the Gaza administration.
Well, I believe in the revealer of the Quran fully, for sure. I believe in the Quran, and I believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he gave it to, and I stand by those who are holding it up. Saudi Arabia needs to get on board. Jordan, Muslim countries, all of you need to get on board. Period. You could have stopped this, but they're your allies, so that you just do what they tell you to do. I'm sorry.
But Saudi will not quite agree, because we have stealth B-2 bombers also landing at the Pacific, refueling what we call petrol just to launch their attack.
All I'm saying is Saudi, get with the Islam that is standing up for the people, so we stop killing. That's all I'm saying.
So are these really Islamic countries are really on the sides of the
Well, they've come out and they've condemned at least that much, and I'll have to say that Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar, I believe, they openly condemned, the American assault. So America really should not get any support from them to, go after Iran anyway, or to do anything with Iran. They shouldn't, but we never know, because you really are on the side of America. They might be able to buy you again. I don't know. I can't really say. Allah knows best.
After targeting key military nuclear facilities, America called it a spectacular military success. That it congratulates its warriors that it will address the nation today.
I'm sorry. Time out. Did you say America had warriors?
Like he called them warriors.
Did you say America had warriors?
Like he called them warriors.
America has military personnel. None of them are warriors. Bring any of them in here right now. We will teach them why they're not warriors. I'm being serious. It's not a joke. America has not won a war in the past 50 years. America has not won a war, a single war. Not a battle. They won plenty of battles. They haven't won a single war. As a matter of fact, in Vietnam, they won every single battle, but they did not win the war. They bombed everybody. They bombed innocent, but they didn't win the war. And Afghanistan is another one. They didn't win Afghanistan. They won some battles. Some battles were not that good for America. There you go.
Yeah. America also is overwhelming the war, because they also have their worship around Taiwan, also overwhelming, claiming what we call Taiwan as one of their territories, also sending what we call worship at Hormuz, also sending what we call in their military personnel at the Iranian airspace. You see to see that there is overwhelming.
Have you heard of the word to threaten somebody? Do you know what a threaten is?
Yeah.
You know what America does? It just threatens people with that stuff. But you need to make sure, as Ayatollah Ali Khamenei says, make sure you make your threats to those who can be threatened by them. They call it deterrent. America has all this stuff as deterrent. So if you actually are deterred by it, then it affects you. But if you're not deterred, it's not going to affect you.
The world is crumbling and economic crisis has just escalated, and America is just from losing an economic war between them and China.
I tell you, they're losing a whole lot more than that. But you know what? I have to say this, and I say this respectfully. All these places America has been to and they've bombed. And I was in America when I said this, and people could not believe it, but it's the truth. All these places that they bomb, you know what? The people of those countries, they still love America. Can you imagine? After they bombed your fathers, your forefathers, after you just finished witnessing an entire war, as in the case of Afghanistan, they still want to come to America. If people love you that much, why would you want to bomb them?
But sir, if international humanitarian organizations are listening right now, what would you have for them or to tell them?
Worship Allah. Learn how to make money from peace and love instead of from war and violence. It's not worth it. Whatever you reap, you would sow. Wassalam.
Thank you very much. That was our program today on Iran and Israel war, whereby the B2 bomber has already attacked what we call 3 nuclear sites. Also claiming Israel targeting what we call the regime leader. Call it.
Okay. I'm not. I was going to. Were you rapping? I don't mean to be rude or anything. I do apologize, but that I'm itching for that. If you want to end it, you can. I don't mind.
Thank you very much. And that was a professor in the mix of us discussing what we call the Iran and Israel war, the background, and also how those days scramble what we call economy. And also we'll come to you some other time. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Israel has said that this is going to be a prolonged campaign against Iran.